People in the MAGA universe are often saying that Democrats need to tone down their rhetoric and that comparing Trump to Hitler or saying that he's a fascist or a racist, well, that's just going too far and you're going to get somebody killed. And then they go hold a rally at Madison Square Garden and they just prove to everybody that, hey, maybe those comparisons weren't so far off at all. But if you end up getting anything out of this video, please remember to hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and I would very much appreciate your support. Now, as I'm sure most of you have seen, Donald Trump and the MAGA lunatics held a big rally at the Madison Square Garden in New York, and when I say the rally was unhinged, it's really quite hard to encapsulate just how unhinged it was, even for Donald Trump standards. I would say that Donald Trump and his campaign have been devolving for quite some time. I think things have been getting more hateful, more vitriolic, and just really demonizing, especially immigrants, but a whole bunch of groups of people. But this rally just put the icing on top of the cake. And if you are looking to back a party that is run on fear, division, and hate, well, this is your party, and it looks quite gross when they gather around and hold a rally like this. Let's go ahead and kick things off by looking at comedian Tony Hinchcliffe telling a joke about Puerto Rico.
A lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody.
So I'm normally not one to go after comedians or bust their balls for telling bad jokes. If it was in the right setting, maybe. But you are at a political rally for somebody who wants to hold the president's office. And this is the type of joke you're telling? And to think that the Trump campaign didn't vet this stuff before he went on stage is wild. They definitely knew what Tony Hinchcliffe was going to say, and they didn't have a problem with it. So even if they are trying to distance themselves from it now, don't let them. Because Trump himself hasn't come out and said anything, and he didn't say anything on stage that night. If he really truly wanted to disown this stuff, that's what he would do. None of the speakers after Tony Hinchcliffe condemned what he said or said, hey man, not the right place for it or whatever. So just don't let them lie to you. They knew this was going to be said and they really didn't care. Let's go ahead and move on to this guy just calling, I think, people on the left, Democrats, sick, demented, degenerates, whatever.
She is some sick bastard, that Hillary Clinton, huh? What a sick son of a bitch. The whole fucking party, a bunch of degenerates, lowlives, Jew haters, and lowlives. Every one of them. Every one of them.
Do you remember when MAGA lost their minds when Hillary called them a basket of deplorables? Well, it's starting to look like maybe she wasn't so far from the truth. I mean, this is just sick and twisted behavior from whoever this guy is, calling us all degenerates, Jew haters. I mean, what is that? It is just gross. It's just gross. And then we have some casual racism by Grant Cardone saying that Kamala Harris has pimp handlers.
Not even her simp, Mark Cuban, can sell this. Even Marky Boy says this would destroy the global economy and take the USA down with it. Ladies and gentlemen, Kamala Harris is the least qualified candidate to ever run for any political office in American history. She makes her boss look competent. She's a fake. I'm not here to invalidate her. She's a fake, a fraud. She's a pretender. Her and her pimp handlers will destroy our country.
Pretty vile stuff. I don't even know what else to say to this. Besides, Kamala Harris is way more qualified than Donald Trump could hope to be. She actually has plans for this country. She actually has policy ideas that will benefit Americans. Donald Trump, on the other hand, is running on this fear, division, and hate. He demonizes immigrants all of the time. This rally was Exhibit A for that type of behavior. So, I just don't want to hear it from these people. Kamala Harris is an objectively better person than Donald Trump and probably a lot of the people in this room. Let's go ahead and move on to this guy trying to say that Kamala Harris is the devil and the Antichrist, guys.
She is the devil, whoever screamed that out. She is the Antichrist at her.
What do you even say to that? Is this like Christian nationalism, evangelical? I don't even know what it is, but it's gross. I know it doesn't have good connotations for how he is using it, so that's all I need to know. Let's go ahead and move on to Stephen Miller. You know, when there is comparisons to the Hitler rally in 1939, this is the type of stuff we're talking about. When Stephen Miller says America is for Americans and Americans only. I mean, gross.
Are gone. The criminal migrants are gone. The gangs are gone. America is for Americans and Americans only. One man. And that man, ladies and gentlemen, that man took a bullet for you. He took a bullet for democracy.
Who qualifies as American or American enough? Who sets the standards for who is an American? This is why those comparisons were made. Because these are the exact types of things that fascist leaders say, that somebody like Hitler would say, and it's just a one-to-one comparison at this point. It's quite despicable. It's reprehensible. This is not the movement that I think represents the majority of this country, and I am hoping that people are mobilized to get out and vote in November. Because if Trump gets elected, not only are we in a lot of trouble, but it is such an indictment on this country. Let's go ahead and move on to Byron Donalds, spreading the same conspiracy about schools are transing the kids without your consent.
And it's a big one. You see, I got 3 kids. They're all boys. And I'll be damned if you're going to have some school tell my boys that they can now be girls. Not on my watch. Not on the watch of Donald Trump, I can promise you that.
Nobody has ever proved with a single case that this has ever happened. When the Trump campaign was pressed for an example of people being, given transgender affirming care or whatever, they can't provide examples. This is just another conspiracy. This is another way to dehumanize another group of people, the transgender community. It is just gross. This is not the America that I want. This is not the America that I know. Let's listen to Tucker Carlson, just, casually spreading the great replacement theory.
Off camera, he's spending his time grousing about people he hates. Ever. He's talking about the people and the country he loves in his private time. Trust me. And people know, in a country that has been taken over by a leadership class that actually despises them and their values and their history and their culture and their customs, really hates them, to the point that it's trying to replace them.
Again, when people make the comparison to the Hitler rally in 1939, this is what they're talking about. This is another bigoted conspiracy theory that has inspired multiple mass shootings, and that this group of people continues to push. They want you to believe that the Jews or the Democrats or the global cabal is secretly bringing in immigrants to replace the white people in the country. That is the theory that Tucker Carlson is talking about. This is why people might say that this is like white nationalist type rhetoric, Tucker. It is just... It's sad, man. It's sad that there's such a huge group of people that sit through these rallies and cheer it all along. This is what they want the whole country to be. And they're willing to take it by force, it seems. Sounds a little fascist to me. Let's listen to J.D. Vance talking about Donald Trump and how he is such a martyr for the cause.
When that didn't work, they tried to impeach him. When that didn't work, they tried to put him in federal prison, and when that didn't work, they even tried to kill him. But as sure as the American flag still waves, Donald Trump still stands, ready to fight, ready to win, and ready to make America great again. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
This is one of the main talking points that was told multiple times. They tried to bankrupt him. They tried to put him in jail. They tried to impeach him. And then they even tried to kill him. What J.D. Vance is trying to do there is say that Democrats are somehow responsible for the assassination attempts against Donald Trump, when that couldn't be farther from the truth. It was registered Republicans who took shots at Donald Trump, and we do not condone that type of engagement with politics. In fact, we have condemned that. Even if it is Trump, we have said that political violence is unacceptable, and there should be it should not be tolerated. This is just another way for the right to rile up their base against people like me and other liberals. It is just so disheartening. You don't hear this type of rhetoric coming from people on the left. It's not even close. Let's listen to Don Jr., also spreading the great replacement theory.
The Democrat Party has forgotten about Americans. Rather than cater to Americans, they decided, you know what? It would just be easier to replace them with people who will be reliable voters.
Again, this is a conspiracy theory that has inspired multiple mass shootings throughout the country. And they continue to push it. When it comes to political violence, if it's them doing the violence, they do not care. And they made that abundantly clear at this rally. I'm going to break down Donald Trump's speech in a video on its own. But again, he is talking about people on the left. He's talking about Democrats and the press being the enemy of the people. He's talking about going after them with the United States military. And then they want to sit back and cry that we make these comparisons to somebody like Hitler. They want to sit back and cry when we call Donald Trump a fascist, when his rhetoric and his actions line up with what fascists do. And there couldn't have been a better display of all of this than at this Madison Square Garden rally. It was quite a disgusting thing to watch. It was filled with hate and vitriol, the demonization of immigrants and other minority groups. It was just, again, it was sad. Is this what America has become? I don't think so. And I think in a week from now, the American people are going to show up and vote these people out of office. These people need to suffer a huge electoral loss in November. We need to stand up and say that this type of rhetoric, this type of hate and vitriol, this has no place in America, and we do not accept it. So let's remember these things when we go vote in November, guys. I'll leave it there. If you guys got anything out of this video, please remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share it with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. Like I said, I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and I would very much appreciate your support. If you want to see Donald Trump tripling, doubling, tripling down on those enemy from within comments, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.